I'm good to go.
Yeah, already.
Let's go. All right, are we live? Or are we still in the highlight reel? There we
like
go.
You're good to go.
I think we're good. You know, it's those 15 seconds you have to wait. Good afternoon, everybody. I've got MrCab here, ready to play some Mega Man 2. Joined here by Lasso and Moby
Hi.
Joe.
Hello.
We're going to be running the Mega Man block for you here on the Speedrun to Change the World Marathon. Hope you've been enjoying it so far. Mega Man 2, probably a favorite classic of a lot of people. Not the fastest in the world, but hopefully we can all enjoy this run. So in 3, 2, 1. So because, well, just to make my life easier, honestly, more than anything else, we're going to be playing on the normal difficulty today. Basically, everything you do does like twice as much damage to enemies. So it should make our life a lot easier. We're opening up with Flashman, just like pretty much every category of this game. Maybe not everyone, but most of them.
I have a quick question, actually, real quick.
Sure.
For normal, does it also half the damage you take?
No, I'm pretty sure you still take full damage. Just the nice thing. Yeah, well, I'm thinking like the Heatman fight is a good example of a place where I'll still take the same amount of damage from everything, but it ends twice as fast. There's also some weird things like the Tin Can Man we're going to see in 2 screens. On the difficult mode, you'll see him break apart when you hit him. For me, he just dies in 1 hit. Easy peasy. So it does change some strats a little bit, but nothing too major. So Flashman stage, obviously there's no real zip opportunity here. There's no real way to leverage the items, so you just kind of go here first. There's not a lot to talk about in it. There's some precise movement to get under some of the shots, and really it's just this fight here with Flashman. He jumps every time you shoot, so that's kind of our goal. You can kind of see a little bit of the iframe problem there, where the shot went right through him, didn't even stop. Because I shot it a little too early. So that means I got caught against the left wall. I didn't let Flashman get there at least, so that's still a good thing.
It was a pretty good fight.
You know what the most annoying thing about playing on the English card is?
What's that?
These cutscenes.
These cutscenes.
Alright.
They last forever.
They are 10 full seconds longer here. Rezi, do we have anything? Because this is really donation time for these runs.
He says he's melting in his chair right now, I think.
Yeah, he's getting up to walk around for a little bit, which
that's fun.
Can't blame him.
I mean, nobody wants to listen to Dr. Light and Yammer on forever. Why did he do item 3 first, anyway? Oh. So because I'm bad at video games, we're going to do Airman second. If you see your Duck Fists, your Elo Ninjas, the real pros of Mega Man play this, you'll see Heat second. So this means I don't have item 1 from Heatman. I can't do fast air. So I've got to do something here to make this a little faster. I know some people out there know about the Airman super jump. We're going to see it. It mostly goes off this principle, right? That whenever you pause the game in a jump, Mega Man's falling velocity kind of gets reset. Doesn't entirely work off of that because you can do it without the pause buffer, but we gotta go for it. I'm actually standing at some precise, not that precise, but intentional points on these clouds to make them spawn at the right times, and right about here. Oh, I missed that first shot. And that saves maybe 2 seconds over riding them normally. So yeah, the rest of Airman stage, the only other thing we're going to try and do is get these birds to chase us the other way from the left. And as long as there's only 2 birds, as long as there's at least 2 birds on the screen, we won't get another egg drop to show up. We got a drop. Well, a life drop. So because I did that little juke there to look left, nice. I got the bird to appear from the left side of the screen instead of the right. And from there, because I got the fanboy on the screen before the big bird left the screen, it actually despawned the fan guy at the same time. Not sure why that works exactly, but it does. So here's Airman. There goes Airman. That was actually really nice. Airman, I think there's at least 4 tornado patterns, each one more annoying than the last. And we were able to actually hit him very easily through all of that. So the first... Go ahead.
As we were talking, you and I were actually talking in your stream just a little bit ago, Airman is really one of only 2 kind of big RNG points in the run, isn't he?
It's one of the 2 like real RNG bosses. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's really no other RNG in the game other than drops. Airman, just the tornadoes that come out, and of course you get to deal with them all twice because it's a Mega Man game, and I'm sure everybody in here knows, spoiler alert, you get to fight all the bosses again at the end.
What?
I know,
I
right?
never would have guessed.
Other one, of course, is Heatman, who has this nice pattern where he's invulnerable for either 30, 60, or 90 frames every time you hit him. It's all RNG, which means if you do the math, it's 60 frames a second, I believe. So if you get the 90 instead of the 30, you lose a second. And so if he does that every pattern, you lose that many seconds. It's like probably 3 or 4 seconds on normal. So I'm no good at the item 3 jump, so here's a zipless strat for you. Item 2 jump there. A good zipless run would use item 2 on this screen as well, but I'm going to use item 3 to zip right here.
Shoutouts to the best category.
Zipless is a fine category. Heatman's actually my favorite zipless stage, and there's a zip for you. That's one of the easy ones. I would say if you're going to learn this game, you should start with Heatman, Metal Man, and Bubble Man as your zips. The short version of how they work, you can get off the edge of a platform like that, standing on the edge by a tile, and when it pushes you into the ceiling, you just kind of... Well, there's 2 types of triggers. There's an A trigger and a B trigger. You execute those, and we can talk about those a little more later. I'm about to fight Heatman. And if you're... And the game decides it has to push you out of the wall somehow, so it shoots you to the right. I think it's at like 16 pixels a frame. Wow, I'm trying to explain this and I'm getting hit by Heatman. And so you move really fast. We call it zipping. And it saves a lot of time. And by a lot of time, I mean 2 minutes. Hey, Heatman's dead. Why? Next thing, I'll start telling them that Wily is the villain in Mega Man 4 through 6. Lies. Alright, one more item cutscene, and then we can start going faster through the rest of the stages. You're playing on a Japanese cart. For one thing, you will not have access to the normal difficulty. I think it's a classic case of they thought we were bad at video games, so they made an easy mode for us. But beyond that, the text will go about 10 seconds faster every time through here, so it's a lot faster in that respect. You do have to hit enemies more to kill them, and it's kind of funny that the English cart and Japanese cart for the easy difficulty and then the difficult difficulty basically have the same record.
So, Kev, do you think you can explain the route of what you're doing right now? Like, obviously the first 3 stages where you're just getting the items, but all the stages afterwards, is there any reason to them in their particular order?
The main reason from here is going to be a little bit of just weaknesses, but we have most of what we need. So this is our first entry into Zipland, or I'm going to call it that anyway. The game thinks we're on a screen further ahead than we actually are, and for some reason it's still showing us this screen here. So what we end up doing is we get past the point where it thinks we're at the midway point of the stage. Because there's no screen below that, it's a kill plane, so it thinks we fell in a pit. At which point, well, where was Mega Man? Well, he was somewhere past midway. Respawn him up there. And it turns out that's the fastest way to reach the midway point of Crash Man stage. We were talking a little bit about routes through the rest of this game. Yeah. Until we get really close to the end, it's just going to be kind of a weakness order thing. We need this for Quick Man. Now there's this other strat I just want to talk about quick that is usually called the crash crime. I'm not that good at it, but I'm doing this kind of small time version of it. I'm going to start calling this the small time crime. It still saves time over not using item 3 here at all. Like, the biggest thing I think it does is it lets you get hit by the birds and you don't fall all the way off the ladder. Other options you can do there, you can use like the leaf shield or flash to kind of stop the birds from attacking you, but you just have to pause the game more, and that will start wasting more time. The other little thing we did at the very end was jump off the screen, off the item 3, so we could grab the ladder higher up. That made it so we didn't have to kill any of those enemies on the last screen. This is Crashman. We didn't get the double hit, but it's okay. He still only takes 2 hits. It is possible to hit him twice with the same shot, which, you know, saves about a second.
Now that's just him running into 2 different air shots, right? Because you shoot out 3 at a time.
Yes. You shoot out 3 with the one usage of it. He hits 2 of them, and goodbye, Crashman. We're going to use Crash Bombs on Quickman. Now, we did practice the gate crashing zip a little bit before this, and we found out we're still bad at it, so we're not going to be going for it. But we are going to do the dark zip still. Jumping off the ledge, because you fall faster that way. We were talking about falling speeds earlier. You'll notice, like, every time Mega Man walks off a ledge, he always has that same slow falling speed to start. It's useful in a couple of spots if you know where to use it, so we gotta set this zip up. Item 1 is our best friend. Does Death wear blue?
You're gonna be keeping the lights off for this one?
Yeah, we're not afraid of the dark. It is possible to turn the lights on, but then you kind of see platforms that aren't on the screen you're on. Because right now we're a screen ahead, kind of like we were with Crashman, so we need to get back onto the right screen. Here we are.
And now for anyone wondering, he actually does have to use a little time stopper right here, otherwise he will get hit by a beam.
Yeah, since we have to walk off the left edge of the screen, there would be a quick laser there, and that would be the end of us.
If you didn't do that zip, you wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
As far as I remember.
Yeah, going zipless, it's not that hard to get through there without hitting any of the lasers. There are a couple of tricks to it even there, but it's not that bad. The trick with a gate crashing zip is you must face right when you're even with the gate. Otherwise, you screen wrap. And in this stage specifically, if you do that, you soft lock the game. And I hear we have a tight schedule here for the marathon, and I don't want to set us back any further. Sorry, everybody. We just get the normal go through the dark, kill Quickman, and get out of here. Isn't it nice to not have to listen to Dr. Light call us up anymore?
He just never shuts up.
No. Some parents, right?
I know. Some people's parents, man.
Seriously. Alright, so I think I did promise to talk about A triggers and B triggers a little bit earlier. And Metal Man is actually the single biggest time-saving zip in the game. So we kind of stand on the edge of this platform to get up, hit B and left, and here we go. You can kind of see there, Mega Man was in that throwing animation. That was a B trigger. Anytime during that little throw animation, you could tap left to actually start the zip. With A trigger zips, like we saw in Quickman, Heatman, and you'll see again in Bubble Man, you have to tap A, and then I believe it's 4 to 7 frames later, something like that. Oh, we should have jumped. You have to tap left to actually begin the zip, which...
Now, A triggers are ever so slightly faster than B triggers, aren't they? In most configurations?
I would say they're probably a little faster since a B trigger... What am I switching to? Quick boomerangs. Actually, I'm not sure. Because people like to go for the B trigger for swag in a few places, and I would think if it was actually slower, they wouldn't do that. I mean, it's really runner preference. It goes into my knowledge isn't that deep of this game.
I do think that there are some zips where A trigger might actually be more dangerous, like some of the bubble zips.
The most dangerous A trigger zip would be in Wily 2. since you can get the B trigger for free, and if you go for the A trigger and you miss it, you are very likely to fall on spikes. And have no recourse to not do that, so... It's like, if you're going for the A trigger there, it might actually be a little faster, but it's significantly more dangerous. So, this is the infamous good wood zip we're going to see pretty soon. We'll open up the stage with item 2. You might notice we're using item 2 in a lot of places where it's just easier to go over things. The big thing there is item 2 also just goes a little faster than walking. It's not like we couldn't kill all those enemies. So,
If only there was sliding in this game.
If only there was sliding or dashing or something. So we need to get a little zip here. We got it. That little 4-tile zip doesn't look like much, but it gives us just enough distance to get past this dog spawning, which means we don't have to fight it, which makes us happier. Now, I failed good wood the last practice run, so let's hope we get this. This is the first vertical zip we're seeing. Okay. Gotta make it jump off a screen here. Hey, we made that one this time. Good. So we are again in zip land. We're like 5 screens ahead of where the game thinks we are. We gotta do another zip here. Interesting property of the quick boomerang. Much like Mega Man 1, if you're familiar with the early magnet beam. If you're hitting B and down the first frame you go on a ladder. Ooh, that might be too early, but we got it anyway! That was, wow. So a lot of things just happened there. We basically hit B and down at the same time on the ladder, so when we climbed up, it popped us up an extra tile. That let us do a zip. We killed ourselves basically in the boss corridor or the boss room, so it respawned us there in the boss corridor for Woodman. If we went too early, we would have respawned right back at midway. And I really thought I had done it too early there. I was very scared. If we went too far, you would have gotten to see this weird corrupted version of Wily 3 with a different tile set that doesn't have a boss in it. And all the water is replaced by ladders. It's weird. Don't go to Rottenwood.
So Kev, how many bubble zips are we gonna see?
How many bubble zips? Just the one.
Just one?
Is that would that be a soft lock if you would have gotten the rotten wood?
If you go into Wily 3, it's only a soft lock if you enter the boss chamber. As long as
you'd have to game over. Okay.
Yeah, you can game over and then you have your normal options, and continue even puts you back at the beginning of Woodman stage.
Yeah, I've never actually seen that happen, so
hardest
I didn't
jump
know that
in
was
the
a
game. Ah.
Didn't know that was a possibility.
Yeah. So this one's an A trigger. One note about A trigger and B triggers: if Mega Man's off the top of the screen, you must A trigger. It is possible to B trigger that zip, and that's when I was talking earlier. Like, you can do some with B triggers, and it's kind of swaggy. But any time difference there would be like frames. Killing that one enemy like that just to get this. There is actually another zip on that screen, and I think that's what Mopey Joe was asking me about a moment ago.
Yeah, there's a couple different zips you can do, but they require damage boost into spikes.
Yes, you are basically placing an item 2 at just the right height, so that it will let you land and then realize you shouldn't be there and try and zip you. The only problem is what it's zipping you against are a bunch of spikes in the ceiling, so if you're not in iframes, well, Mega Man's touching spikes. Guess what happens?
The thing about those is that, like that one with the frog right at the end, it only saves maybe a second at most.
But it looks so cool.
It's also incredibly difficult to get.
Also, just
Go
big
ahead.
shout outs to the background of Bubble Man stage, just murdering every stream ever.
The true
Yeah.
test of bit rates.
Shoutouts to Giant Eyebrows.
And why the eyebrows? The classic.
Now, for a good run, you'd probably see a runner take out item 2 to start Wily 1, do some flying over, and then you get to see the Wily 2 zip. The Wily 2 zip actually only saves time if you're good at doing Wily 1, and I'm not good at doing Wily 1. Although I guess if there's really high demand, I could try and do the Wily 2 zip anyway. But we're going to go this on foot. We're going to turn back here and fail to get the bird to come back from the left because I didn't want to hang in the air for too long looking left and not going forward, so we're just going to go. Only other thing I'm going to do here is use item 2 rather than item 3 or item 1. If I do it right, I'm not actually going to lose very much, if any, item 2 weapon energy, which is just good for ammo management. Just need to actually get it so I can still jump on it. It's a tight window to get that. So here's some zipless strats for you. It's very much like the Crash Crime. Just going to use item 3 to help me out. Using it strategically because I'm going to use a lot more item 3 in Wily 4. And I want to not have to refill this too much. This little corner jump, I really like it. I hate that that jump's not in the real runs, because you'll see a lot of vertical zips in the stage, and they look really cool. This one especially is a nice tight one if you can actually get to it. Since it basically saves climbing the screen, Mega Man's climbing this ladder really slow. That's what, like 5 seconds of climbing that ladder on that screen. And if you get the vertical zip, I mean, you're done. 5 seconds saved. Congrats. So, this is technically the first auto-scroller in Mega Man.
It's not really much of one, though.
It's not. It's kind of fun if you throw item 1 on the screen. People complain about the lag here a lot. It's very laggy, it's very slippery. Just make sure you're not moving when you touch the ground. Don't get bodied by the dragon, he's a one-shot kill. The big thing when you have to stop on these blocks to let the screen scroll a little further, when you first start holding forward again, just look for Mega Man's toe to wiggle, because that will be your cue to start going. So the Wily 2 zip is actually kind of neat. It's one of those ones you have to deboost to walk across a bunch of spikes. This was actually the one I was talking about earlier. You get in the wall, and if you A-trigger incorrectly, that's nice. You fall on spikes, have fun. But we're just going to do this because, given that we have the item 2 here, this is the faster way to go. Plus, we get an E-tank out of it. Nice for safety. You never know what's going to happen in Boo Beam, in Purple Hell, or maybe in the refights. Don't really want that one up, actually, because weird things can happen later. So, there's a couple of ways through the passages up ahead. We're going to see some variant strats here again. A lot of people use Wood Shield here, and it's actually not a bad option. The trick is you have to make sure all the drops stay in the wall, because then they get zipped away. And the drops in this game, you know, they're long, slow animations you have to sit through. You don't want to do that. Using Flash there is nice, because you don't have to deal with them at all, but then you can't use Flash up here. So we just use that one item 1 to kind of skip that one part. It does mean we're using another item 1 to get up top in the first place, but now we're in here to Pico Kun. These little magic blocks. Now a Metal Blades game, Metal Blades.
Is there a reason that you jump over that Mega Man 5 reference earlier in the stage?
Mega Man 5 references being a joke about 1-ups. So right now, because of the zip route, I have 0 extra lives. Wily 4 infamously can have a very bad thing happen, and you run out of weapon energy in the boss of that stage, and you have to suicide. There's no other way out. At which point you would have to farm for ammo. I would rather game over in that fight if it came down to it, and just start the entire stage over than farm for that ammo. And because of the game over, I would of course get a weapon energy refill.
Fair enough.
Shoutouts to Mega Man 5 and its 1-up drop rate, by the way, as long as we're on it.
Reminder that Mega Man 4 has the same drop rate as Mega Man 5 for 1-ups.
It's true. I think, like, sometime recently when I was playing them, I got a ton of 1-ups in a game that wasn't Mega Man 5, and it was Mega Man 1 of all games, which has a terrible 1-up drop rate. As you can tell, Wily 3 is very boring, so we can just talk about whatever here. Really nothing going on in this stage.
Yeah, there's the Wily stages, in my opinion, are just the worst part of this game, especially Wily 4.
Wily 4 Purple Hell is like the worst stage in all of Mega Man. One thing there, because we talked a little bit about walking off ledges earlier, we actually maneuvered Mega Man to make sure we did not land on that little ledge there. Just 'cause falling off of water, a ledge in water is even slower than in air. Falling off a ledge on land just doesn't make sense when you think about it.
Shoutouts to Gutsman.
It was like, that was technically 3 jumps, but it's like, I couldn't hit him in the first half of the first jump, and I killed him in the first half of the third jump, so it works out to 2 jumps. Also, shoutouts to Mighty Number 4, because it's basically the Guts Dozer.
How about we say 2.5 jump? Is that fair?
I'll go with 2.5 jumps. I don't need this at all. Okay. So this is Purple Hell. I did promise I'd use more item 3 here. We didn't get this. I got that zip a bunch of times in practice. It's possible to just zip over that Met's head. It's also possible if you're doing some item 3 jumps here to zip off the top of that ladder, which sends you into zip land, and there's really no way out. You have to suicide, and it's terrible. Mega Man's foot's on that little triangle there. Shoot, jump, free vertical zip. Once he pops up, press A 3 times. Press up and right, and that happens, and it's fun. It's a free zip. Go for it. I didn't get a jump there. You want to get on the top of that jump, and if you get off screen at the top of the ladder, you get your head caught in the ceiling and that for a little bit. It's a nice little hallway zip. Saves a little bit of time. When you're falling through these screen transitions, you might want to like jump rather than climb down the ladder. You can hold down to grab the ladder on the other side, so you don't worry about having to push up and then maybe climbing back up the screen. This is, I think, one of the worst things in the game. Like this screen. You gotta make sure that's above the spikes.
This entire stage is just the worst thing in the game.
Yep, I remember when we had our zipless races a few years ago with the Southeast contingent, we called this just the elevator antics. The good runners use item 1 on that 4th screen. I'm not good, so I used item 2 because it's free. Quick boomerangs are the zipless key to this screen. Again, I'm not trusting my gate crashing zips today, so we're just gonna take a walk here. Let's grab some extra item 1. You never know. So, damage boosting in this game, by the way, goes in the way that Mega Man gets hit from. So, like, the shot's gonna come from the left. I'm gonna get hit by this cannon directly behind me. It knocks me that way. If I blow up that cannon first, I'll actually get hit by a cannon from the right side of the screen, which will hit me to the left, which will knock me all the way back down to the gate, which I don't want to do. That's the main reason I start the fight the way I do. That's an iffy placement. It's a good placement. Let's go for this. Actually, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Alright, that's good we didn't die. We screwed around and didn't die, but we got 2 double hits, which means we still have a crash bomb. Which is kind of interesting. People like to talk about having exactly enough ammo to get through that fight. There are tricks you can do. The top left double hit's pretty free. The bottom right one is pretty tight placement.
There is a trick that you can do where you hit one of those turrets with a crash bomb and then bump into another one with Mega Man, right?
Yeah. Yes, the damage transfer, which I can't fully describe, although it is the reason I walked into it the way I did. I was trying to get it. If you have 2 crash bombs, the main reason you want extra crash bombs is on the difficulty, because in that scenario, you will not actually have enough metal blades. I know, right? You'll run out of metal blades against the Wily machine, and you don't want to do that. So the fix is to bring in some crash bombs. As it turns out, crash bombs work really well against the Wily machine. So let's see what Airman gives us today. Very rarely you can get a pattern to jump in and actually use the leaf shield. And I can't believe I think I just blew it. Because I had it. I never should do it. I should just switch to Buster. The thing is, if you use Buster against Airman and you come into the Heatman fight on normal, it's actually faster to hit Heatman with 1 Buster shot and 2 bubbles. Oh, I need a lot of health now. On the difficulty, the 1 Buster shot's not enough to do enough damage, so you don't need another bubble, so it's not worth doing. So this is the metal row, as we call it. Metal on bubble. High Metal Man. Bye Metal Man.
Bye, Metal Man. The best refight in any game ever.
Famously, Metal Man on normal dies to 1 Metal Blade. On difficult, it does take 2.
Truly the best weapon in the Mega Man series.
It really is. The 8-way fire and everything else. So, Wily Machine, if we had 2 Crash Bombs, we could try and use a single Crash Bomb on both cycles. Now, I don't need to do this, but it looks cool if we do it right. There we go. The thing is, on the normal difficulty, that probably wasted time, but it looks cool. And certainly if you were on difficult, you would want to do that. Since you would be running out of Metal Blades, you just kill Metal Man that much faster. Now, I said I'm not good at gate crashing zips. Do we have time for me to screw around? We might lose a minute of time here if I don't get this right, but we're going to go for the zip.
I believe.
Oh, oh. Hey! So that's a fun zip because you actually don't have to trigger it. You just have to be looking left. I haven't gotten that zip in a very long time, and I'm not sure I've ever actually gotten it in a run. So anyway, here's Alien Wily. Everybody remembers Alien Wily. He can only
Don't touch the alien.
He can only be damaged by bubbles. I don't think I hit him enough times there. Yeah, and that one bubble on the screen made it so we had to wait a little bit longer. That's time. Sorry if I wasn't letting everybody know time was coming up. I've got a 30-41 on my end. That's Mega Man 2.
GG.
Nice. I hope I didn't take too long. I know it's not sub 30. The rest of the Mega Man community is actually really good for actual tutorials on this. Duckfist notably has a very good tutorial from the Get Yourself Speedrunning tournament this past winter. So if you're interested in learning the game, I highly recommend looking at that, and highly recommend just follow all of those guys too, and just hang out with the Mega Man guys.
The Mega Man community in general is pretty awesome. So
even the X community is pretty awesome.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I don't know about that. I hear we got a couple of X games next though, right?
Indeed.
So stick around.
We've got Mega Man X with Lasso next. And then after that, we've got Mopey Joe playing Mega Man X4.
I know those guys.
Never heard of them.
Are all 3 of you gonna stay in the call, or are you gonna